Welcome to Doc's Lab and our second Master Series. Welcome to Friday night's video on our second Master Series. I do believe this is the 95th video in our second Master Series, the 44th video on our basic processors, the 7th video on sculpting processors, and on this video we want to talk about opinions. Now, I normally am pretty adamant about my stance on opinions, and in this segment, it is going to be very, very, very important for two things to happen. For you to become very comfortable with your opinion and for you to be very confident in your opinion. And that's going to take practice, experience, research, and you honing your abilities and your critical listening abilities so that you can improve, so that you can have confidence and be comfortable in your opinion. Because in this segment, these issues we're dealing with sometimes are very delicate, and sometimes the applications and the situations call for very delicate and light, detailed work that you have to be really comfortable and confident in what you're doing to do a good job. Because if you're not, you're probably not going to do a good job, and you're going to do a bad job, and you're going to get frustrated. You're going to play that die in front of the mixing board game because you're really not spending the time to be comfortable and confident in your opinion in what you're trying to do, which takes some time. So you really need to keep that in mind. Because an example of this is I've said this, I don't know how many times, I've got 10 mastering engineers and 10 mixing engineers that are big name mixing and mastering engineers. Now, I've got a situation where I've got this R&B thing that's going on, that I've chosen the environment as this little cafe, and I want it to have this nice smoky feel. And it's just, got this nice smoky jazz cafe feeling. And so I'm coming there and standing, just as one example, that I've mixed some gray and blue noise, that the blue noise is adding a little bit of harshness, which is going to cause a phase effect with the noise that's already in the captures, and some gray noise that's going to soften it up, give it a smoky flavor. And I've balanced those out, and I've added that file across the whole mix to give the whole mix a nice smoky feel. But it's also balancing out the harshness of the noise that was in the inherent capture by phase issues going on and conflicting with the blue noise file that I've put in that's actually a harsher noise that's kind of smoothed them out. And I end up doing my automation with it, and how much automation I do with it, and where I am accenting or I want more and where do I want less at different points in the production, to where it comes out having this nice smoky feel for the production. And I know what I'm shooting for, and I'm really, I'm really confident and I'm very comfortable in what I'm trying to do and what I was trying to do from the beginning when I started choosing my noise files, how much and what I was targeting, and then listening to the mix itself after I've done the other work to it to try to blend things together a little bit like we talked about, try to glue the mix together a little bit, and also trying to add a little bit of that smoky feeling that's kind of blurring it a little bit and giving it that hazy smoky feeling. And all these things I've gone through to where it's just, right. But if I did that with 10 different mixing engineers or 10 different mastering engineers, they might have done the whole process differently to get that effect. And that's their opinion, and it may come out sounding different on each one of those also. That doesn't make it wrong, but they're probably just as confident and comfortable with the way they decided to do it as I was. Does that make sense? And you might get 20 different mixes and masters from those individuals. Well, 21, including mine, right? So you really have to take that in consideration, because as you really start working on honing your abilities and your opinion and getting really comfortable and confident in it, that you really need to practice and applying it. Practice and applying it. Some people are just confident and comfortable, and they don't need to spend that much. Once they understand a concept, they just jump in there and they go, no, I know I want that. And it's like, yeah, all right, that's what I wanted. And they're pretty good to go. Some people, really serious master audio engineers, question themselves. They're like, no, that's what I think, but that's not always right. I know this from experimentation and practicing and trying new things, that's not always the correct answer. What else could I do? And so it causes some conflict of them questioning their abilities, which is improving their opinion, because then they're questioning themselves as, how can I make it better? Maybe I'm a little bit wrong there. Maybe something else is going to make it better. And then that is confidence, and that is being comfortable, because then they're comfortably and confidently questioning themselves to improve what's going on, and not worried about so much about what somebody else might think, and it getting to sound the way they want it. Does that make sense? Which is kind of backwards sometimes, because you want a large audience to listen to what's going on, but you have to have that confidence in what you're doing, because if you sit on the radio and asked everybody that listened to your last pop album exactly what they would have done a little bit different, you might get 50,000 different answers about how you should have done your pop song. But you sold 50,000 copies of it, so I mean, obviously you did a pretty good job, right? So you really got to keep that in mind. So this thing about your opinion in mind and somebody else's opinion, you really have to get over that hurdle. And the way to get over it is some of the ways that I'm talking about, so that you can really be comfortable and confident in your opinion by practicing, by experimenting, by researching, by studying, by applying it, by questioning your opinion and trying it from a different approach to try to improve yourself, and doing it different ways. Like you've got a vocal, do it 2 or 3 different ways that you think might improve it, and which way really came out best, your opinion. And then, well, maybe let's try it a little bit differently. Maybe that is going to actually make it sound better, and on like that to improve. So, because that way you'll get more and more confidence and more comfortable in your opinion as you start going through all the things we're talking about, especially in this segment, because of how delicate the works can be sometimes. Sometimes it can be very delicate. This work can either make a complete disaster out of your project or make it just shine and sing. And sometimes if you don't do it properly, that it's or it can be, you've added just a little bit of saturation to the horn section to where it comes out. It's a very prominent part of your production, and it's like ba ba bow bang, and it's like you spent some time on it, and it's like, oh, I'm really working on that. And these tools you've used and honing your opinion and being comfortable and confident just made it happen to where it was just perfect, to where it might not have been that wonderful, to where people don't go, whoa, yeah, dude, oh yeah, ba 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 ba, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what you want. And sometimes you get that, you have to understand that sometimes you just got good stuff to work with. So you got 30 different people that might have done a little bit different work with these processors that we're talking about a little bit differently, but it still would have been good no matter what. But you want to make it as good as possible so that your stuff rises above, so to show that you are that next level master audio engineer. And you will never get there without having confidence and being comfortable with your opinion and how you get it done, and questioning it and going back and trying different things or reworking it and all the things we've talked about, so that your opinion becomes rock solid and you're confident, you're comfortable, you're confident, you're rock solid in your opinion. You know when to question yourself, you know when not to, so that you can take your stuff to the next level. And these tools become hugely useful to you, instead of and I'm throwing that stuff off to the side. Why am I messing with that stuff? These are huge tools. We talk about, you have a fundamental frequency, even with a vocal, that you've got a fundamental frequency, harmonics, harmonic distortion, saturation, and noise, and some frequency and volume modulation. That's basically it. And, the transducer itself, that is your throat, which is like, putting a different, impulse response on something, or a guitar cabinet or something like that. Your throat's like a guitar cabinet. These things are basically all that is. And so these 4 things we're talking about are huge components of that. Whether you got the guitar cabinet or not, and you got frequency and volume modulation going on there and decibel level differences, how big a deal is that in comparison to these four tools? Huge. Does that make sense? So you have to understand how important these tools can be to you just by thinking about that. And, you know, start really honing your abilities so that you have that seriously confident opinion and you're very comfortable with it so that you can become that next level master audio engineer. Peace, soap, love. I certainly hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.